this computer. There we go. All right, we are recording. Thank you everyone for joining us this gorgeous morning in Evolutionary Church. And we are so delighted to be here with you. Hello once again as we're rolling into Evolutionary Church. Our mission here is a planetary awakening in love through a unique self-symphony, and together we declare that the last day of the old face of evolution is honored as the first day of the new face of creation. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Witter. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Center for Integral Wisdom, and I am your moderator and the executive producer of this gorgeous gathering we do every Saturday morning called Evolutionary Church. And in Evolutionary Church, we are connected, we are whole, we are expressions of the entire process of creation, and we are activating a new humanity. We are awakening as a new species that we call Homo Amor Universalis. And as we say every week, we are not only a church, we are a synagogue, we're a mosque, we're a temple, we're a zendo. We are all of it. No one is excluded, everyone is included, and we come together to attune to the evolutionary impulse that is awakening in us, as us, and through us. So welcome home, everyone. We're so excited and delighted, as always, to be with you here in Evolutionary Church. And if you haven't already opened up your chat box to say hi to us, please do that. Remember that when you chat to all panelists and attendees, not just to panelists. We want everybody to be able to see the chat, know where you're from, and especially make sure that you're chatting to all panelists and attendees when we use the chat for our prayers. And we do invite everyone to use that chat box. It's actually an important part of our broadcasts, of our services, of our gatherings here. So open up that chat box and start out by saying hi and letting us know where you're joining us from. Also, please do help us spread the love of Evolutionary Church by letting your friends know about Evolutionary Church. Invite them to a broadcast with you. I know that some people around the world, like our beloved Kirsten, our executive director of the Center for Integral Wisdom, does something really gorgeous where she brings people to her house and they watch Evolutionary Church in a group of a few people. So we invite you to do that as well. That's another way to share with your friends the love that we are spreading here in Evolutionary Church. And you can send your friends an invite to Evolutionary Church. In every email that we send out to you, there is a link to Evolutionary Church. So just send them, forward them your emails with that link in it. And it's a very easy way to invite your friends to Evolutionary Church. And as always, as you just saw, I am recording today's broadcast. So we always record our broadcasts. The replays are sent to you by email within 48 hours of our broadcast so that you have those replays as well. All right. So for those of you who might be new, let us know that you're new. Say in the chat box if you're new, if you've never joined us before, so we can give you a huge evolutionary hug and hello. And to just give you a little overview of what to expect in the next hour, we always begin with a Dharma recap. And in that, I just recap what our code from last week to bring us into our codes for this week. Then we move into a resonance with Barbara, and then we move into prayer with Mark, and then we move into our sermons with Barbara and Mark, and we tie it all up around the top of the hour. So you can expect about 60 minutes of a deep dharmic dive with us here in Evolutionary Church. So with that, I will take us into our Dharma recap. And just to let you know, in case you're interested, because I know that you're interested, we are in week 114 of Evolutionary Church. That's quite amazing. 114 nonstop every week we have shown up here together, and we're really building a movement. We're setting a resonant field. We are setting a field with each other. And by doing this every week, we are really establishing, we're bringing down these codes into reality. We are truly, as Mark and Barbara say, we are changing the source code of reality, and it's quite exciting to do that. So in Evolutionary Church, we are here to tell a new story of love and power that's equal to our potential. And last week, our really provocative invitation was to desire power, to be power hungry. So we're not talking about pseudo power, where we place others outside of the circle, which results in a breakdown in intimacy, or as we say, a crisis of intimacy. We're talking about authentic power, which most of the postmodern world has deemed as bad and abusive. In fact, our culture these days has deconstructed all forms of authentic and noble power and called them just social constructions of reality. But as we've said before in other broadcasts of Evolutionary Church, power isn't bad. It's the abuse of power that's bad. And what's happened is in our postmodern world, we're left with no story, no narrative of power that's equal to our potential. So what's happened is that a lot of people feel lost. We have to remember that power is holy. And like we say, like Mark always says, God isn't just the infinity of intimacy. God is the infinity of power. So it's time for us to reclaim our power, right? And as we've said with our codes, transformation is the highest form of power. So there are a lot of people in the world who are trying to affect transformation, who are trying to be out there, trying to be world changers, but they're trying to do it without first transforming themselves. We can't bypass personal transformation and expect to be able to transform the world, because our power to transform the greater whole comes from the power that's awakened within ourselves through our own personal transformation. So part of our code has been in the past weeks is that your unique transformation is what transforms everything. Each of us has a unique point of personal transformation that requires us to shift and to repattern our egoic structures, to re-identify ourselves as a unique expression of the evolutionary impulse. So repatterning requires us to look at ourselves, to face everything, to avoid nothing, and to be fearless, because we know that despite our mistakes and all of our imperfections, we are good, right? We are the goodness of reality itself. So I end this Dharma recap with a piece of the code that we've been working with, which is reality is driven by pleasure. The highest pleasure is transformation. And last week, we added one core critical piece, which is transformation is the highest form of power. So with that, I invite us to enter into the holy and the sacred space as Barbara sets the resonant field for us. Barbara, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. We have a very powerful code tonight and today and this morning. So I'm going to read it slowly in resonance. And then when I do my sermon, we're going to go point by point and unpack it as to what it would mean for all of us. So let's hear it now in a resonant field, realizing that each of us is going to have a chance to express more of what it means to us personally. Our narrative of power is directly emergent from our narrative of identity, which is directly emergent from our universe story, the multi-billion-year story. Power is a divine elixir, nectar, and not poison. There are three forms of power. The first two forms of power are power over and power for. Contrary to the popular understanding, which deifies power for and demonizes power over, both forms of power are holy. The third form of power is the power of. All three forms of power are inextricably united, connected with each other, three faces of the one. Love and power are not opposites. The love of power is inseparable from the power of love. The outrageous lover is power hungry. The highest pleasure is the pleasure of power. The highest power is to act and surrender in the same moment. Inaction in action, action in inaction. To deny your full power is to deny God. To deny your full power is to stand against the good, the true, and the beautiful. Transformation is the highest form of power. And I pass my word to you, Mark.
Thank you, beloved. Good morning. Let's have a powerful good morning, everyone. Right? Oh my God, it is so good to be here. Right? And we are in week, Barbara, what week are we in, love? We are in week 114. Is that unbelievable? Oh my God, we're in week 114 of Evolutionary Church, and we are delighted and we are powerful. And as we began to talk about last week, we just got started last week, right? We want to be power hungry. We are power hungry in Evolutionary Church, but not obviously not power hungry in that kind of superficial way where I am extracting from other people their life essence and hijacking it to serve my own egoic, superficial insecurity, right? Obviously, that's not what we mean by power hungry. And we wrote this code yesterday, and it was such an ecstatic process writing it. It's such a beautiful code, right? And it's the code of the next step. Because if you've noticed, friends, as we're about to go into prayer, if you've noticed, right, it's a very strange thing that happens in the country. You know, the Republican Party is not shy about exercising power, right? Right? There's this enormous exercise of power. And often, you know, the shadows of the Republican Party, right, seem to be exercising power for its own sake, right? The Democratic Party, right, who has its own very clear drive for power, right, but it is shy about power. It does it behind the scenes, but it always talks about, you know, noble, right? The Democratic, well, let's talk about noble causes, and power is really not our issue at all, right? Democratic Party kind of disowns power, and it's all about nobility, when actually there's this huge power drive happening all the time. And the Republican Party actually is really focused on power and kind of puts its nobility stuff, you know, kind of to the side, even though, you know, the originating conservative thinking base of the Republican Party had gorgeous noble causes to stand for, right? And we've got this very strange conversation happening about power. And I got to tell you something. The people that I'm most afraid of in the world are people who say, power, I'm not interested in power, right? People who disown their power drive are dangerous because power gets split off and the naked, raw desire for power becomes shadowy and then appears dressed up in, under all sorts of noble names. It appears in the most pathological and terrible ways. And so I want to really we need to talk about power. Power is a real thing. And I want to just talk about one thing that's going to take us directly into prayer. And then Barbara's going to unpack, right, the code, and I'll unpack the code, right, in our conversation sermons after prayer. But let's just take this into prayer. We're about to turn to divinity. When we're turning to divinity, where are we turning? So on the one hand, we're not turning away from ourselves because divinity lives in us, as us, and through us. We're not turning away from world because divinity is the tangible, right, quality, right, the suchness that animates all of reality. So we're turning to divinity, right, as both the suchness and quality and creativity and, right, of all reality, and that which holds all reality, right? So God's not a person in the sky, but God's not less personal than a person in the sky. You get what I mean? God's not just this abstract ether. God's not the ether, right? There's a quality of divinity which is everywhere, and there's a quality of divinity which holds us, knows us. So in Evolutionary Church, we call that, right, about a year and a half ago, right, I call that the infinity of intimacy. It's a phrase from the Unique Self book. The infinity of intimacy, right? So God's the infinity of intimacy. But when we say God's the infinity of intimacy, we mean God's not only the infinity of power, God is also the interior quality of power is intimacy. And that power and intimacy are not unrelated. Usually we understand power as being alienated from intimacy. We're actually saying, no, power and intimacy, no, they're completely inextricably linked. So we're about to turn to divinity, who is both the infinity of power and the infinity of intimacy. And what do we say to that God who is all of the beauty and all of the good and all of the true, right? And the most personal, gorgeous moments we've ever had, and all of that is divinity, and who holds us in every second. And when this very second is in training our brains, and if we could see all of the brain waves and all of the cellular activity and all of the atomic activity happening in every one of us and in the space in between us. Right now in church, there's this dazzlingly allured, inordinately, right, complex, beyond elegant, gorgeous set of the most beautiful interactions, chemical, biological, right, atomic, right, cellular, which is the same as biological, happening in every second, right? This infinity, right, of power that knows our name, this infinity of intimacy. And what are we saying to God? We're saying, God, I love you. I love you madly, God. I love you so madly. Oh my God, I love you so madly, right? And then we're saying to God, whenever you say I love you, it means I need you, right? I need you, God. I need you so much. And whenever we say I need you, it means, and God, you have power over me, right? And I surrender. I'm powerful enough as an autonomous, powerful human being that I surrender to you, God. I surrender to your power. But here's the sentence that takes us into prayer. And at the same moment, God, the infinite personhood of cosmos, is saying to us, I love you. I love you madly, Barbara. I love you madly, Lisa. I love you so much. And God is saying to us, I need you. I need you. I can't do it without you, right? We hear God is literally turning to us, right, and saying, I love you. I need you. I can't do it without you. And you have power over me, right? When I step back to allow room for world, right, I was inviting you into partnership. I was needing you. And to say, I need you means you have power over me. Does everyone understand? If you're not shivering awake, if we're not exploding out of our heart, minds, and seats right now, we didn't get that sentence, right? God's saying, you have power over me. And God's saying, and I trust you madly and wildly. I'm going to surrender my power to you, and I trust you're going to take care of me. Wow, right? You begin to understand power, right? Right? There's nothing more joyous than knowing that we all have power over each other, and we trust each other madly to be able to need each other, not in a codependent way. We say need, we think codependent. We're not codependent. We're actually Schleiermacher called it, Barbara in German, Abhängigkeitsgefühl, right? The utter dependency we have on each other. I need Barbara. Barbara needs me. I need Lisa. We need Lisa, right? And we need every single one of us. We need Klaus Huber, who just joined us, and Lorian, and Deborah, and beloved KZ, oh my God, right? And Gabi, right? And every single person, we need each other. So it means to be a band of outrageous lovers. And with that, we turn to pray, and we say to the God who needs us and the God who we need, we say, oh my God, I want to bring you everything, my holy and my broken hallelujah, everything. And we're going to come back to the chat box, and we're going to pray, and we're going to ask for everything. Welcome, everyone. Evolutionary Church, standing for the evolution of love.
Years of Chinese music.
A little 5,000 years. We need a little Chinese thought in there. Friends, let's come. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're almost at Christmas. Let's go to the chat box. If you're new, we do this every week right after prayer. We go to the chat box and we offer our prayer. And we ask for everything. So I want to invite everyone to meet me in the chat box. And what we do when we pray, we say, God, help me, right? I pray for, I ask for what I actually need. So friends who've been with us for 100 weeks, let's model it for everyone else, right? We turn and we say, I need this. And we say what I need, right? I pray for, I ask for, right? I pray for everything. Medea says, I'm an outrageous divine love, and my power in love with love goddess, right? What am I asking for, right? I pray for my dog, right? Holiday, right? To recover. Jillian, I pray that I have strength and grace to do my healing work, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Suzette, yay, Suzette, I pray I can use my power and goodness to help others find theirs, right? Mitty, I pray to stay awake constantly. Inika, I pray for transformation. Krista S., God help me. I pray to trust my power. I pray to trust my discernment. I pray to trust my beloved to love me and surrender to him deeply in trust. I pray for sexual healing and pleasure and freedom. Nahid, I pray for the healing of my daughter's heart. Janet, Grace, I pray for humanity to awaken to their God and magnificence. And friends, gorgeous Janet, and everyone, don't forget to pray for personal need, right? Remember, get personal, right? Make it real, right? What is it that you particularly, uniquely, desperately want? Whether it's an actual physical need, whether it's for something in your family, whether it's for a child, right? Whether it's to fulfill your deepest purpose, but make it real, okay? Make every word count, right? Let's impress our lips, right, on the lips of the divine. Shahati, I pray to create a powerful field that will sweep Europe with outrageous love. Donna, right, I pray for strength and confidence. Chris, I pray for health. Medea, I ask for grace and power within my heart each moment. Right, I pray, Lisa, for Lainey's health and happiness. Claire, right, I pray to release any blocks that still stand in the way of thee working through me. Ulrike, ask for guidance to my unique power and the devotion to live it for the sake of all. Right. Priscilla, I pray for the awakening of the cosmic masculine and the cosmic feminine in me and through me. Karen, I pray for the lonely people in grief during the holidays. And I pray, I want to add a prayer for the lonely part of us, and the part of us that's in grief during the holidays. Yes, thank you, Helene. Right. For Christmas, I gladly accept this beautiful Fiat 500 Rapido edition. Well, hallelujah, right? Amen, right? Shati, I pray for a strong financial base. Sean, right? I pray for constant awareness of the divine. Right, Christina, right? Amlon, I pray for my dad, Steve, to keep opening his love for all of humanity. Fernanda, thank you. I pray for the healing of my physical and spiritual eyes. Tom, right? I think that's Tom, right? From Tucson. My brother, I pray to Goddess to hold me, right? Us in this transformational time. Inika, I pray for mildness and patience, softness. Val, I pray to activate my core in love and power, right? To be with community and belonging for a partner and financial and creative joy. Terry, I pray that my soon-to-be college graduate son, oh my God, how did Topher get out of college? He was like 12 last week, right? To continue to find the power in his heart. And I pray for a house when I can create our fields this shot, right? And let's have some new people who've never prayed, okay? Right? Just this is a great moment, everybody. right? Something happens when you actually go to the chat box and you actually take it out of the interior and you speak it. So we know even in the synapses of neuroscience, we know in the interior sciences, something happens, something is activated in reality when you speak and write your prayer, right? Tracy, right? I pray for everything to constantly transform, guide my soul family and all humanity. Enoch, I pray for my son to connect. Tom, it's good to see you, Tom, right? I pray to integrate my unique power with yours and with all of reality. Amen, Tom. Jillian, I pray for my wrist and hip to heal and be youthful, flexible, and powerful again, right? Right? Mosa, I pray to understand my power. Right? Krista, I pray for deeper healing for the abused girl and me. And Krista, right? Transmitting power to you madly and massively right now. Priscilla, Nahid, right? Right? Beautiful Nahid. Ken, I pray for the strength and clarity to live a unique, fulfilled life, open, sexual, heart-opening community. Right? Financial Val, right? Dana Fawn, and I pray for a vision for my family that's true and powerful, right? Does everyone get it? Right? David, I pray to attune and practice pleasure at every level. Jim, welcome, Jim. I pray for the willingness to embrace an infinite amount of power, right? Bill, I pray to trust in my artistic gifts, that they may lead to a healing of myself as well as the world, right? Does everyone get it? Jeremy, I'm just going to read one or two more prayers from new people that we've never read there. Jeremy, I pray to use my power to serve the world in healing, right? Barb, I pray for constant awakening. Jane, I pray to stay awake, to be a vehicle of love. Paul, for better and deeper understanding of the Dharma, to share it with Enoch and the kids. Oriana, I pray to receive and hold love and power of God. Klaus Hauber, I pray for unspeakable truth, right? My lips can't move, but my heart cries out more than ever. It's worth standing up in all the pain and discomfort to reach the other side, right, of evolution. Right, holy friends, Lori, last one, I pray for my daughter's healing and all love for all I need and all I can give. Lady of the Rose, peace on earth, right? Amen, amen. And Barbara's going to take, right, all of these prayers and she's going to weave them together in our code. And she's going to lift it to literally to the sky as a prayer for the sake of the evolution of love, because that's what we're standing for here, right? We are the force of the evolution of love, right? Amen. I turn my word to you, beloved homemade Barbara. And let's unmute my love.
Amen. I pray with all the prayers. Amen. It's unmuted. I pray with everybody's prayer. It's one great prayer. And I'm going to take all those prayers from the deepest heart's desire in every one of us and bring it into this code. And to actually incarnate the code. So, first line, our narrative of power is directly emergent from our narrative of identity, which is directly emergent from our universe story. So now let's open the universe story for a moment as a story of love. Because if you look at the origin of creation, billions and billions of years ago, and you see the nature of quarks to electrons to protons to neutrons to cells to multicells to animals to humans and now to us in this church, it is the power of attraction that has created the entire story of evolution. So if our narrative of power is directly emergent from the identity that we have with the universe story, we might say that our narrative of power is the power of attraction. Being attracted by and attracting such that we become intimate with each other by this power of attraction that brought us from quarks to us. So in the evolutionary church, if you can even imagine all of us, the hundreds of us now, the thousands of us who are listening, to be attracted to each other in a new level of intimacy, as in the story of the universe, you know what was going to happen? An absolutely new humanity and a new culture. That's how it happens. So the reason that power is a divine elixir, a nectar, and not poison, it's exactly that we are the power of the universe expressing uniquely as us. And if we let that go, if we didn't dare express our full power, the universe could not fully express through us. So let's think, everybody on this church now, of your power as a divine elixir, going in deep, personal, the power to realize all of this potential. It has to be power. And you think of all the things in the universe that can decline and fail and get lost and get hurt. That power is God's power as you. And it's a very beautiful thought that it's a divine elixir. Let's feel that, everybody, that our power, my power, Mark's power, Lisa's power, your power is coming from the power of the universe, which is always creating more. Through connecting in intimacy, new separate parts to make a new whole. So I think, Mark, this real deep yearning for the church to be carrying the vehicle of our divine power is because in here we have a field of connectivity that does not necessarily easily exist throughout the entire world, for sure. And let all of us who are listening to this experience that divine elixir. So the church is empowering each one of us to be this ourselves. And so now there are three forms of power. The first is a form of power is power over, and the second power for. Contrary to the popular understanding, which defies power for and demonizes or deifies power for and demonizes power over, both are holy. So let's say we're deifying our power for here as the inner impulse of evolution that creates more love, more contact, more creativity, more consciousness, more intelligence. So we're deifying our power to express all of that as who we are. And we're also demonizing power over. And what are we demonizing power over? It would be the illusion of separation and the fear of being more powerful or less powerful than somebody else, and therefore afraid of our own power because we can hurt somebody else. If our power is coming from the God that creates the entire universe in us, our power over is godlike. And we dare not hold it back. We dare not hold it back. And the third form of power is the power of, which is just as still left as a third, not yet fully expressed. Well, our narrative of power is for the universal evolution. So our narrative of power, the power of you and me in this minute, is the power that creates universal evolution made personal in you and me to express our uniqueness as who we are. The power of you, the power of me, the power of this whole church, the power of our love of God. That's the power of that we're bringing forth. So these three forms of power are inextricably connected to each other, three faces of one. So the power of, the power over, the power for, holding it all together as universal power within us in this church, creating the new human and the new world together. Because it's certainly true that evolution won't say we're going to stop here with just us. This is it, folks. We're finished. No, that's why we have to have the power of and power for and power over. Okay. Love and power are not opposites. The love of power is inseparable with the power from the power of love. The love of power is inseparable from the power of love. So let's say the love of power is the love of this impulse of creation in the universal story, powered. We have to be power. We have to love it. And in order to express this power, it means we're expressing love deeply. So this is making truly the evolutionary human come alive. I don't think hardly any of us have ever fully experienced the full power of the evolutionary human that is being called forth here. The outrageous lover is power hungry, of course. I want all the power that God can give me to fully express this evolutionary love and this evolutionary creativity as a whole being. You want that. Feel now yourself asking for this power 100% and saying yes when God gives it to you. Yes, I accept. Yes, I express. The highest pleasure is the pleasure of power. So I am feeling the tremendous pleasure of power. Let's feel it together. Is it pleasurable for the power for and the power over and the power of being expressed through you as the power of love? Is that pleasurable? Could there be actually a higher pleasure than that? Wow. Pleasure, pleasure all the way through. The highest power is to act and surrender in the same moment. You know what that means to me, to act and surrender in the same moment, is the presence that's acting and surrendering is not an individuated, separated self. What's acting and surrendering is the impulse of creation as me doing this. Totally 100%. So the highest power is to act and surrender in the same moment. Let's see if we can access that ourselves individually, to act with this tremendous power of expression in all its forms and surrendering to the greater impulse of evolution or God within us creating at one time. They're actually inseparable. That you can't do one without the other. Inaction. So the inaction is the part in me that is sourcing, and action in inaction, I am actually holding the entire source of creation from the deepest inner essence of itself, expressing uniquely as me and you and us. Wow. To deny your full power is to deny God. To deny your full power, your full expression, your full creativity, your full yearning and heart's desire is to deny the power of God as you creating. To deny your full power is to stand against the good, the true, and the beautiful. And so to accept my full power is to stand with the good, the true, and the beautiful the whole way. Do you see the glorious presence that each of us is when we do this? Wow. Wow. Can you feel yourself so glorious? Can you see how when you say hello to somebody, you're communicating this and that person is turned on? Can you feel yourself? Wow. I am the good, the true, and the beautiful in person as an expression of God. Okay. And transformation into all of this is the highest form of power. So let's accept this power, everybody, and move into the power of contribution. Let's see what the power inside you and inside me would like to give for the evolution of love. Personally inside yourself, for this church, for humanity, and you might say for worlds within worlds within worlds, in a universe of billions and billions of galaxies, folks. Our contribution from this epic point of evolution is giving all of this power. And we're giving our power through this contribution. So there, you will see this here, right here on our chat box. Your contribution, CIW, says, Lisa, to all panelists and attendees, your contribution makes a difference, says Lisa. Click on HTTPS and add your contribution now. We are so grateful for every single person here. We're grateful for you, Mark, that you are giving this Dharma. And I'm grateful for myself for being dharmically engaged. Also to bring all my own Dharma in here.
Absolutely.
And I want everybody to bring your own Dharma, because Mark's Dharma is awesome, but then so is yours. And one of the things we want for this church is that this Dharma of you and me and every one of us joins into what we call a unique self-symphony. And I am adding now my Dharma of conscious evolution of humanity from the origin of creation into all of us. Mark, I'm adding my Dharma in all its forms to you, and I'm making my contribution to this church and to all of us. And I am turning my word back to you, Mark.
Thank you, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me just say what we mean by Dharma for a second, okay? Right? And everyone has their own gorgeous, unique, place in the world and value. But by Dharma, right, I wouldn't necessarily say that everyone has a Dharma, right? In other words, Dharma, again, means something very specific. Dharma means that we've actually spent, a few decades, and we're completely committed. And we've actually tried to work out, you wouldn't go into a physics class and say, physicist, you would say, well, everyone in the physics class has their physics theory, because we take physics theory seriously. So Dharma is the interior physics of reality, right? So Barbara has been doing conscious evolution for 40 years, and that's a gorgeous Dharma. It's worked out. It's got a lot of science behind it, interior science and exterior science, right? So that's a Dharma that's now merging with these new mimetic codes and creating a larger integrity. And I stopped to say that just to be really clear, right? And one of the things we sometimes do in the human potential movement in the New Age, we don't take ourselves seriously. So the same way a physics professor wouldn't say, everyone in the physics class has their own physics theory, right? So I don't think everyone has their own Dharma per se. So I want to just gently kind of clarify that. Not exactly, right? It's more like, if you want to contribute to physics, then what you do is, right, either you study physics, you find a particular place that you want to really invest your energy, you learn it, you master it, right, you make it yours, and then perhaps you even contribute to advancing it. That's the way to step into Dharma. The way to step into Dharma is to actually, right, Dharma means, let me tell you what Dharma means. Dharma means the best integration of pre-modern, modern, and postmodern thought, right, integrated together, sciences, anthropology, mathematics, great traditions, in order to create, right, sentences that reflect. So when we write a code, right, we don't just write the code, right? That code is a product of, right, the best thinking we can find and integrate in body, heart, and mind over decades, and then to kind of, right, swallow it whole and then to put it back in a formula that you can access and clearly understand. That's what Dharma is, and it's the core of the church. So I needed to actually just kind of comment on it gently. Now, from that holy place, right, I want to kind of dive into this kind of gorgeous understanding of power, right? Because Dharma is a form of power, right? But we're talking about these three that Barbara talked about so gorgeously, right? All of this, right, you could understand, right, as the mechanism of conscious evolution. How does conscious evolution work, right? How does the universe a love story work? It works through power. And as Barbara said so beautifully, and it's one of the core dharmas of the church, right? What moves in me? What's powerful in me? So you always find in your first person, what's powerful in you, right? You're attracted, you're allured, a word that I always deploy because I like it so much, and it says something slightly different. You can catch the magic of allurement, right? It's magical, right? Allurement is primary, it's mystery, there's nothing underneath it. I'm allured to come to church. I'm allured to work on the Dharma. I'm allured, right, to dedicate my life to conscious evolution, right? I'm allured. So allurement is power. That's what Barbara was talking about so beautifully at the very beginning of your sermon, right? Allurement is power. Absolutely, right? So I'm allured, I'm drawn, and that allurement is the most powerful thing moving in me, okay? So that's the beginning. Now, what does allurement do? What does allurement do? So what allurement does is, right, allurement is the power of that we talk about. The power of what? It's the power of transformation, right? Allurement's the power of transformation, right? When quarks are allured, they transform, and maybe whoever's not on mute, press mute for a second, so we'll get a clear line for everyone, which is totally fantastic, right? Allurement is the power, right? Power of allurement is the power of transformation. So the power of is the power of transformation. And the power of transformation is everything. It means I can, me, I can change. I am so powerful that I can change. I can transform. How do I transform? I'm allured, right, to the memory of my future, right? I'm allured to be something more than I am now. I'm drawn towards it. So I am allured to my own transformation. So I want to see if we can catch that sentence in the chat box. Can you catch that with me, friends? I'm allured to my transformation, okay? I'm allured to my transformation. That's such a huge idea. I'm allured to my transformation, right? Did everyone get that? I'm allured to my transformation, right? I'm allured, right? I'm allured to my transformation, right? And that fills me with power. So I'm allured to my transformation. When I'm allured to my transformation, I am filled with power. So try and take the next step. I'm now filled with power. Is everyone with me? Right, let's do this together, right? I'm now filled with power. I'm filled with power. Just feel the power now, right? I'm filled with power, right? I'm allured to my transformation. Second step, I'm now filled with power, right? I'm now filled with power, right? I'm now filled with power. Now, if I'm not allured to my transformation, everyone get this? If I'm not allured to my transformation, and I'm not filled with that power of transformation, then the only thing I have left is the superficial version, the pseudo version of power over, right? Not genuine power over, which we're going to talk about, but I'm allured, right? If I'm not allured to my transformation and then filled with power, the only thing I have left is a pseudo version of power over you in the most dominant, in the dominator sense, in the superficial sense, right? The taskmaster, the sadist, right? Sadism comes from wanting to have power over you because I'm not actually connected to the power of my own transformation. I want everyone to get this. And sadism is not just the Marquis, writing in the Renaissance, right? Sadism is something that lives in many, many people. I've seen sadism in some of the greatest teachers, right? And as I got to know them at close, wow, there's a sadistic streak there. And wow, I've seen sadism in CEOs. And I've seen, sadism is just every place, right? Underneath smiles, there's sadism. Sadism means, right, I get my power by lording it over you in some way and making you vulnerable to me, right, and playing mind games with you, right, and going, right, there's lots of ways, right, to play that sadistic game. But here's the rule, and sadists are not out there. Everyone has a little sadist voice in them, right? Everyone's got a little, right? Your sadist voice also always comes from, I'm disconnected from the power of my own transformation. The second you connect, the second I'm allured to my transformation and I'm filled with authentic power, all sadism disappears. And I'm filled with fierce and quivering tenderness and love. Does everyone get that? It's huge. So we start with the power of. It's the power of transformation. I'm allured to the memory of my future. Does everyone feel that? Let's try that one. Can we try that one in the chat box? You up for it? I'm allured to the memory of my future. Right? Who's willing to write that much? That's a lot to ask, I know. But help, Krista, thank you. You are a rock star. Jane, you're a rock star. I'm allured to the memory of my future. Shad, I'm allured to the memory of my future. Suzette, Kirsten Czar, Christina, I'm allured. David, I'm allured. C, it's so good to see you, C. Bean. I'm allured to the memory of my future. Jim, Medea, I'm allured to the memory. Paul, I'm allured to the memory. Right? Helen, I'm allured to the memory of my future. And so when I'm allured to the memory of my future, so first I've got allurement. The interior quality of allurement is love, but I'm driven towards deeper and deeper intimacy with myself, intimacy with all of reality, right? So when I'm allured to the memory of my future, and then I'm animated by pleasure, I'm driven towards deeper and wider intimacies, and I'm filled with power, right? And so then I don't need a superficial pseudo version of power over, right? My power is for. It's for my highest self. Right? It's for service. Wow. So that's the power of, and that's power for. Okay, so now let's go to the last step, okay? Let me check the time so we kind of watch the time this week, right? So here we go. You with me? Okay, so it's wildly exciting. So now we understand power of is the power of transformation, which is energized by allurement. That's how Barbara started her sermon, right? Right? I'm allured. Just think about it for a second. Think about it for a second, right? There's always the image of the man or the woman in the great fable, right? In the great, mystery tale who hears about a beautiful man or a beautiful woman, me'ever layam, it's always across the sea, right? And they're powered by this incredible allurement and lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and nothing stops them and slaying dragons, right? In order to meet the damsel, to meet the great man, right? It's allurement. Right? Allurement is what drives us. I'm allured to my transformation, and then I'm filled with power. I'm filled with the power of transformation, and the little hidden sadist voice disappears. And at the second I'm filled with power, ready for the sentence? I stop playing power games. You get it? Right? The superficial power games disappear. I don't need to destroy someone. I don't need to launch crusades. Right? When Christianity launched its tragic crusades, because Christianity had lost the power of transformation. And you know why? Because Christianity said, can you hear me clearly? Noel says signal is breaking up. Can you hear me clearly, Barbara? Okay, good. Thank you, Krista. Okay, right? What Christianity said is, listen to this. This is so deep. Christianity said, you with me? You only have grace through Christ. So friends, that's a crazy disaster. Because if you only have grace through Christ, that means you're not engaged in transformation anymore. Just by believing in Christ, that's it. That's the whole story. So Christianity abandoned transformation, right? In its formal doctrine. And it's only the last 150 years, right? Post-Renaissance, last 400 years, that Christianity is trying to reclaim transformation. When you abandon transformation, you start sadistic crusades, right? Because the only thing you have is power over. Because you don't have the power of, which is the power of transformation, right? And the genuine power of transformation, everyone with me, is I offer my transformation because I'm inextricable, because I am evolution, right? That is the credo of Evolutionary Church. I am evolution. So my transformation, we said last week and the week before, my transformation is the transformation of the whole story, right? The allurement arising in me is the allurement of evolution. So evolution is seeking to transform through my transformation. But if I transform someone else's transformation, everyone get this? I could be doing my whole life and powerful and public and doing these great things and writing books, and I could have blown my whole life. You know why? It wasn't my transformation. You got to know what's your transformation to do. And your transformation to do means you got to access your optimum point of discomfort. It's not so discomforting that you're knocked out of the game, right? You're right. You can hold your space, but there's an optimum point of discomfort, which is your transformation. What's my transformation to do? on the chat box. Karen says, what's this power over about? So my signal is gone, breaking up, Mark. Let me go to a different place. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's transform places. Here we go. Okay, tell me if this works. Tell me if this works. Tell me if this works. Oh my God. Oh my God. How are we doing? We any better now? Okay, yay. Okay, we're doing a transformation here. Okay, so this is awesome. So why do we need power over? Does everyone get it? Why do we need power over at all? Okay, so we need power over, and it's a big deal. Okay, right? I was going through the loo there, Krista. Okay, right? It's a big deal, right? Why do we need power over? Because here's the story, and it's so deep and it's so true. Because the truth is that the ultimate transformation is when we actually realize that we all do have power over each other. Of course we do, right? And I want you to get this. It's the deepest, most wild thing in the world, okay? So the deepest teaching, right, of the erotic mystics, right, of the great, great sages in Kashmir Shaivism and in Kabbalah, the Sufis got this in a really deep way, is that when infinite reality went to create and manifest the world, so infinite reality said, listen to this. It's so, I can't even, I can't even say it. So it's hard to say. Infinite reality said, okay? Infinite reality said, and this is the deepest understanding of the Christ idea. Okay, Gabi, this is the deepest understanding of the Christ idea, right? Infinite reality said, right? God said, I love you so much, I'm prepared to need you. Right? Christ said, I love you so much, I need you to redeem me from the cross. Right? I love you so much that if you don't actually find your way and find that Christ voice in your heart, that God voice in your heart, if you're not allured to your own transformation, then something in me, something in infinite God dies. So God says, I who am the infinity of power will step back and say, I'm going to contract my power and give you, human being, power over me. That's the mystery of incarnation, right there. Infinite power said, I'm going to contract my power to give you power over me. Wow. That's the mystery of conscious evolution. The mystery of conscious evolution and the mystery of incarnation are the same. Right? The mystery of conscious evolution is, I am taking the power, right, that God stepped back and said, I'm going to give you power over me. God says, I love you so madly that I trust you. I'm going to surrender my power to you. And God says to the human being, I can't do it without you. That's the mystery. That is the mystery of incarnation. That's the mystery of conscious evolution. Is that amazing? It's the same mystery. Does everyone get that? Right? And so we have power over each other. That's the structure of reality. And when we don't really get it, we try and exert superficial, tyrannical, sadistic, manipulative power over each other because we don't actually get the authentic power we have over each other. Right? We need each other desperately, not codependent. We're utterly intertwined, right? All power is one power. All of these three faces, right, of authentic power are one. This is the Holy Trinity. These are the three faces of the one. So, oh my God. Does everyone get that? I'm stepping back because I love you so madly, right? That I can't do it without you. Without merging memes, can't do it. Without joining Genius, can't do it. I can't do it myself. And none of us can do it ourselves. So we come together in church and we say, oh my God, right? And we can write this in our chat box. We'll finish with this, right? I can't do it without you. And I can't do it without you, right? Can you get that? But to really know that, right? I can't do it without you. Right? You get that, friends? Right? I can't do it without you. I can't do it without you. I can't do it without you. And then we kind of rise in the last crescendo when we say, we can do it together, right? But we can do it together, right? That is where the power is, the power of unique self-symphony. It's of the planetary Pentecost, in Barbara's phrase. I call it unique self-symphony. It's the planetary awakening in love through unique self-symphony, where we realize we need all the instruments and we can do it together. Right? And it's the dharma of reality itself. I can't do it without you, but oh my God, we sure can do it together. We sure can do it together. Right, God, you know, Terry, this is your word from the Midwest there someplace, wherever it is, Wisconsin. And golly, right? I can't believe I just said the word golly. This is so embarrassing, right? Right, golly. It's such a great word, isn't it? Right? We can do this together, right? How can anyone ever tell you? Thank you, everyone. It's so good to be with you in church, right? So Barbara's sermon, my sermon, it's the same sermon. It's conscious evolution. It's our Dharma together. How could anyone ever tell you that you are anything less than beautiful? I can't wait to be with you next. Deep bow. Deep bow, everyone. Have the most gorgeous week. Let's change the world together. We can do it together.